Hi Siddhant, welcome.
Hi Ajay, thanks.
Siddhant, first of all, congratulations. You've done very well in your CAT and then even converted your calls and finally got selection into IIM Ahmedabad. So congratulations from our team
Thank
and
you, Ajay.
thank you for taking out the time and joining us. So
Yeah.
Siddhant, let's get it started. Why don't you take us through your schooling, where have you grown up, and how you finally ended up thinking to do an MBA from the top B schools in India?
Okay. So basically, I'm born and brought up in Lucknow. So I went to a school called Seth Hemar Jaipuria School, where I studied for my entire school life. In class 10th, I scored around 96.5%, and in class 12th, I got around 96.6%. After that, like any other science student, I decided to go for JE, and but I did not. Unfortunately, I did not clear it in the first attempt, so I had to take a drop. After the drop, I ended up in IIT KGP with a dual degree in mechanical engineering. So in my first year, I went through the normal courses that any engineering student goes through, and there was this one particular course I remember, mechanics. So I had a very hard time dealing with it, and that actually got me looking at options at the end of the first year as to how I could switch or like go to any other department or at least change my specialization in the final year. So I came across this degree called interdisciplinary specialization in financial engineering. So basically, I converted to that at the end of my first year. So my degree is basically integrated dual degree with bachelor's in mechanical and master's in financial engineering. So after that, I actually started studying finance, and I realized that this is something that I like much better than mechanical engineering. So gradually, the interest started growing, and I also started pursuing actuarial science on the side. So I used to give regular papers and also clear the core subjects, which I really liked studying. Then I decided to pursue two internships, both in the finance sector only. My first one was at Altico Capital, which was in NBFC in Mumbai. And the second one was a campus placement, summer internship at at Capital One, wherein I got a pre-placement offer. So all these factors basically led me to pursue CAT and eventually an MBA because have an I have a very keen interest in financial field, and I realized that MBA would actually give me a very wider perspective to pursue that field in a more direct manner.
So Siddhant, I think your journey was like exploring yourself. I think even your internships, if it hadn't, I mean, if you had felt that if finance was not your interest, maybe you would have chosen other things. So can you emphasize on the importance of internships and while you are doing your internships in finance domain? So how did it actually help you get motivated to give CAT and then actually think that this is my area of interest, not actually engineering was your interest? So how did that help you out? I mean, I just share the importance of internships from
Yeah.
the experience that you had.
Okay. So basically, I believe that the first internship that I did at Altigo Capital, so that was kind of a changing point in my life as well. So I had a lot of good mentors there. So that company was not a very big, large company with. So it was a very close knit team, and I was working in the treasury department. So I had an executive director who I reported to directly, and three directors who were basically helping me out with my projects. So that was my first time where I was actually applying the concept that I had actually learned in the theory classes. So when you are doing the theory classes, you gradually begin to understand things, and you think that you are getting a hang of it. But it is when you actually go and work on the things that you actually realize that in the real life the things are very different from theory.
True,
So
true.
so I started working on Bloomberg. I had to make all the comparative analysis of the company. So those things actually motivated me to pursue a career in that field. I used to be inspired because the CEO and the CFO and the COO all were in the same office only. They had the separate cabins where everyone was having lunch and the snacks together. So you get to have a conversation with them and you hear their experiences. And then you see people walking in and having these meetings, etc. So basically, you get a sense of working in the corporate sector at the highest level. And these things actually motivate you to pursue that. And I also believe that my mentor there played a big role in my interest in finance. At the end of every day, he used to guide me. He used to throw random questions at me and teach me various concepts. Because from coming from an engineering background, I did not have very solid concepts in accounts. I knew finance, but accounts was a little weak. So he used to actually give me topics to study up on every day, and then he used to ask me rapid fire questions about them. So I really, basically, that internship actually propelled me towards finance. So I believe that your internships actually help you explore your interest, and they increase your motivation to pursue that field if you begin to like it.
Very well said, Siddhant. I think two important points come out from your answer. One is having mentors, and then the second one is having exposure. Because unless you expose yourself to different things, you really don't know what your true interest is. So I think you really emphasized those 2 points. And
Yes.
then Siddhant, okay, now that you have decided that you are going to do an MBA, when was it that you seriously started preparing for CAT? And take us through your journey from the point deciding that you're going to give CAT seriously this year, and then till the time you have given the actual CAT.
Okay. So basically, my internship ended somewhere around the second week of July 2019. After that, I had a brief inclination to give CAT, and I talked to some of my friends who had given it the last year, as every student kind of does, to get a feel of what the exam is about and how should we go about preparing it. So my friend generally suggested me to go for self study, so that yeah, I would be able to devote more time towards it and I could focus more on the things that I wanted to. So I went back to campus and I had these consulting placements going on. So they actually bought a lot of my time. So initial 1 month I couldn't give my 100% to the CAT preparation, but after that I would say I started towards CAT very seriously around the mid of August. So that gave me a 3 months time to prepare for the CAT, the final exam. So initially I started with two books, Arun Sharma Quant and Logical Reasoning. So I had some exposure with data interpretation because I had given campus placements test before. So that is why I was not focusing more on that. But these two were the key elements that I wanted to focus on in the starting. Besides that, I also enrolled in a test series by time. So these were my three materials that I used in my preparation. So after August, basically in the last semester, you don't have a lot of work to do. So it's mostly the thesis work that you have to do and you focus on that. And some side by side, if you're sitting for placements, that or some other exams. So that is why I could devote a lot of time to my preparation during those 3 months. So I started with the book, first of all, quantitative aptitude, because the syllabus was huge, as anyone would know. So I used to cover one chapter in 2 days. My strategy was to focus on the level 1 and the level 2 questions, because I believe that easy and the medium questions are the ones that you can attempt in the paper itself. The hard questions, there is a less probability that you'll be able to solve, and more probability that you will get stuck and might end up wasting time. So that is why I tried to avoid level 3 questions. For the level 1, my strategy was to solve most of the questions without a pen or a paper. So like I started reading the questions, and by the end of the question, I should know what path I have to follow to solve the question, and try to solve it mentally, and resort to pen and paper only for the calculation part and not for the equations part. So that was my initial attempt for the level 1 questions. And for level 2, I tried to write 2 or 3 equations and then solve it as quickly as possible. I specifically found that using a timer while solving the questions actually helped me increase my speed. So I used to time how many questions I can solve in particular minutes, and that actually helped me later on.
So you are doing this not, I mean, not just during the mocks, but even during actual practice when you are solving the questions, and that really helped you out.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, like you can say on an average, you could solve 5 to 6 questions in 10 minutes for level 1. So that gave me a sense that this much time I'll be taking in the easy question and the medium question. So that actually helped me prepare my strategy for the final CAT. The second important part of my preparation was the logical reasoning section, which I studied from the book. So there are a lot of typical sets that you get in CAT paper in the logical reasoning section, and these sections are well covered by the book. So I started preparing each of the sections separate, each of the sets separately, doing enough questions of each set so that I get enough exposure, and writing down the method so that I remember that this is the method that I'll be using to solve it. The most important part of my preparation, I would say, was the mocks, because those are what actually helped me prune my strategy for the final attempt. So basically, in the starting, I could not give enough mocks because I wasn't prepared and I was getting less scores. So I was thinking that I'm not well prepared enough to give the mocks. But in hindsight, I would suggest people to do the opposite, because the more number of mocks you give, the more number of exposure you get to the type of questions that can actually come in the various exams. So the mocks, I would suggest that when you're giving the mocks, try to formulate a strategy before you are sitting for the mock. And after the mock, analyze whether that strategy went right or not, what aspects of those strategy went right, what did not, and try to prune it as you go forward.
I think Siddhant very rightly said. I mean, unless you're doing the self-analysis properly, or unless you're having the strategies and testing them out properly, there is a very high chance that on the actual day of CAT, you might do one or the other mistake. So I
Yeah.
think that would really help the candidates. So Siddhant, what was it like when you're giving mocks? Were you getting good percentiles? How did that affect your confidence?
So I started with something around a 78 percentile, I remember.
Okay.
So I had a friend who was simultaneously giving it, and so we got consistently scores of around something around 75 plus to 85. And so that got me thinking whether I'll be able to do it or not, because the time was also running out. I did not have that much time to prepare, and I had actually read up that being a GEM candidate, as they say, general engineering male, it is very difficult to get calls from the top IIMs. So that pressure was also there. So initially, yeah, that did affect my confidence, but I wasn't prepared to give up, because, as I said, I had already had two failures, and this was basically my last shot before I moved out of college. So I really wanted to do it. So I started putting in extra hours, and the percentile did not actually shoot up during the mocks. So I'll be very honest, my percentile did not like, I did not get consistent scores of 90 or 95 plus like the other candidates might have got. So I was getting somewhere around 90s in the last month. I remember getting only one percentile of 98, which actually boosted my confidence a lot before the exam. So I was like, I knew that lesser number of people were giving it, so the chance of getting a higher percentile might be higher. But then
Right.
it actually did serve as a confidence booster before the final exam. But yeah, so like I would suggest people not to get bogged down by the percentile and keep attempting at it, because the more mocks you give, the more questions you get acquainted with, and you are bound to perform better at one mock or the other.
Correct. And especially along with giving the mocks, it's equally important that they analyze, give enough time to analyze what they are doing. I think right now the mocks provide enough data, how much time you're spending on each question, where are you getting stuck. And the worst thing is spending 4 or 5 minutes on a question and getting it wrong. And
Yeah,
there is
exactly. So that is one of the key disadvantages that I identified in my own strategy. So what I was doing was I was attempting the LRDI section sequentially, and I used to get stuck in one side in between, waste a lot of time, and that was significantly reducing my percentile. So that is one of the frustrating parts of CAT, that when you get stuck and you end up wasting a lot of time on that question, and then you realize that you could have just moved on and attempted the easier questions more. One part I think that is very useful of the analysis of mock is the accuracy of selection. That how many easy questions that you are leaving out, not attempting, or getting wrong, because that basically helps you identify whether you are missing out on the easy and the medium questions also or not.
correct, correct. Very well
So
said, Siddharth.
analyzing that would actually help you increase your selection accuracy, and that actually goes a long way in your percentile in the end.
True, true. Very well said. I mean, yeah, analyzing where you're doing wrong, and actually, it's all about choosing the right ones and not fighting with the questions, thinking that I have
Yeah.
to solve this. Letting
Yes.
go is very important, especially when you're trying to, I mean, solve the questions. So Siddhant, your results, I mean, you got a good percentile, and then you are also in your final year, and then simultaneously you had to shuttle back between college and then giving multiple rounds of interviews. So how was it? Take us through your journey of VAT and PI.
Yeah. So, like, college was one of the major aspects that was basically hindering my interview things as well as my exam also. So, like, on the next day of CAT, I had two end semester examinations. So, I had to rush back and prepare for them on the very same day and then sit for the exams. In the last semester, that is your spring semester for IT Kharagpur. So I had my interviews. I got the interview dates in the first week of January itself. So I had my first interview around February 21st, and consequently, the two interviews were scheduled on 5th and 7th of March. So we have our mid-semester exams around the last week of February, and I also had a dissertation presentation. So I had to show what progress I'm making in my final year project also. So I had to basically simultaneously balance all these things together. So VAT PI, one mistake what I did was I did not actually start preparing for VAT PI after I had given the CAT. I took December off to take a rest because I was actually very tired. But yeah, so I would suggest that other people do the same mistake. And once you know that you're getting a good percentile, you should just start your VAT PI prep as soon as possible. So I basically, in my campus, there are a couple of workshops, you can say. People come from outside, erudite, career launcher, etc. So they give you a brief understanding of what the VAT PI is and how you should go about it. So what I followed was I basically divided them into two types of VAT or AWT you can get. One is your basically your abstract questions, and the others are basically your fact-based or opinion-based. So for the fact-based questions, to know the facts and the figures as they help a lot in the VAT, I made a list of all the important current events as well as the events that happened in the past 1 year. So as you belonging to a finance field, I focus more on the aspects that had an economic impact so that I could actually talk about them in the interview also. So like the US-China trade war, your Brexit, your NBFC crisis in India, the rising NPA problem. So I basically prepared a list of all these topics, and then every day I used to prepare points about two or three of those so that I regularly was updated. I also used to read the Economic Times, which was a big help because it basically presents you the business news very well. Uh, for yeah, for that I also recommend that you practice a lot. Simply reading up and thinking that you'll be able to do it in the 10 minutes that you are allotted is not something that works. Practicing is very essential. As I found out when I started practicing, I could not complete my VAT within 20 minutes and it was all messed up. So two things: start practicing and learn to organize your thoughts.
And how was your PI preparation? I mean, how did you go for the PI for VAT you were reading and doing all these activities? How was your preparation going on for PI?
So PI, you basically know what sort of questions they can ask you. Anyone who has given interviews would know that there are specific questions that are generally asked, and the rest are unpredictable as always, and you cannot even prepare for them. So
Correct.
I broke my PI prep into two parts. One was the academic preparation, and one was the basically your questions about yourself. So the general questions: what are your strengths and weaknesses? Why should we take you? Why MBA? Which is the biggest question of all. Your
Correct.
hobbies. So basically, I jotted down these questions, and I used to think about them in my free time. Why am I going for an MBA? What are actually my hobbies? Which is actually a very difficult question when you start to think about it. It seems easy, but it is not. Your strengths and weaknesses. So I used to write them down daily, whatever points came to mind. And in the end, I collated all the points and I basically remembered the bullet points. So it is very uncommon that you are asked the exact question like why MBA. They might ask you in a different manner. So having bullet points ready in your mind actually helps you to give a good answer on the spot.
Correct. So when you're preparing for PI, there is this huge unpredictability part, like you told Siddhant. But then preparing, I think, always helps the candidates answering the questions at least which are like, let's say, tell us something about yourself or
Yeah.
why MBA, because those questions actually set the tone of the interview sometimes if they are asked upfront.
Exactly. So basically, your introduction, your tell me about yourself is where you get a chance to drive the interview in your direction. But these people are basically very smart and they do not take the hints that you give, but still you can try. So yeah, these things are actually very important in an interview. So even in your job interviews, they basically give you a chance to set the tone of the interview. So these questions, if prepared, do help. And rest, as you said, the uncertainty part will always be there, especially in your MBA interviews. You can have a stress interview, you can have a very chill interview. So that is basically the luck factor that comes in. But from your end, you should be prepared so that you do not have any regrets later.
True, very well said, Siddhant. So, Siddhant, what would your advice be to someone who is right now preparing for the CAT this year, and who would be, if they get a good CAT score, they would be giving their VAT PI. So, what
Yeah.
would your advice or what would your suggestions be? Because you're just fresh into whatever the journey that you have gone through.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll start. Uh, so, I'll say first of all, decide why you are going for an MBA. So, knowing that why you are going for it, and the fact that you actually want to go for it badly enough, it acts as a very strong motivation and helps you in the preparation stage. So, that would be one advice, that you should basically research about why you want to go for an MBA. So, that will actually fuel your desire for wanting to prepare for it. Secondly, I would say that you should be very regular with your preparation. This is actually a very good time for every CAT aspirant in 2020, because most of them would be at home or having a lot of free time. So it is basically the best time to prepare for your CAT. You should be very regular with your preparation and try to enroll for 2 test series, give mock regularly, analyze them regularly, uh, try to note down where you are making the mistakes, where you are going wrong, and improve them in the next mock, and basically come up with a final strategy that you will be using to attempt your CAT. For the VAT PI, I would suggest that start reading as of now only. You shouldn't wait, because even 15 to 20 minutes in the morning and the evening do not hurt anyone. So if you start reading from now, your VAT PI stage preparation would be a lot easier and you would be a lot more confident than the other people, since you would have been preparing for 1 year. So the confidence factor is one thing that I would highlight, which I actually highlighted in my article also, and I believe is one very core thing that people tend to miss while giving examinations or interviews, and that can be the deciding factor, as I've seen a lot in my interviews as well. People actually see your confidence, how well prepared you are, and how confident and how sure you are about yourself. So if you are in doubt, then you would never be able to convince the interviewer that you actually want to go for an MBA. So these are some of the tips that I would like people to know and prepare accordingly.
Very well said, Siddhant. I think you started right from the root, knowing actually why do you want to do, because unless you have the strong why, you will not be able to, go on this difficult journey. And then
Yeah.
also what I observed from your answers was you were always strategic. You were not taking, even if you're getting less marks, you are just thinking rationally, questioning why is it happening, and then
Yeah.
trying to improve upon it. So a lot of people, you just give marks, you see it, you see your scores, and then you feel that you're not getting enough. And if you see Siddhant's case, he got his highest score in the CAT examination.
Cat exam.
And this would be the case with a lot of candidates, because only the serious candidates, not only the serious candidates, but mocks would be given mostly by the candidates who are preparing very seriously. And that would not be an actual projection. So analyzing mocks is more important than looking at the scores that you're getting in the mocks. Where are you doing better? Where are you doing very poorly? What are the things that you can improve upon? And the same, one more important point that Siddhant very well pointed was starting early out on your WAT and PI preparation, because it's very difficult to cover whatever happened in the last 6-8 months just before your WAT and PI. And you might be working, you might be in the final year of graduation like Siddhant was. So starting early always helps. So Siddhant, thanks a lot, Siddhant. Thanks for taking out the time. You have shared some pretty good insights And one more point was you highlighted how confidence is very important, and preparation actually helps in building that confidence. Thank you very much, Siddhant.
Thank you for giving me opportunity, Ajay.
Thank you, Siddhant.
Okay.